Okay, the next kind of calculator I'm going to learn to do this with, I'm going from sort of the old-fashioned scientific calculator, it's not that old, to a newer model. This is also a TI-30 style calculator, but it's a newer model that allows for a little bit more screen input. You notice it's got a bigger screen, and so it looks a little bit more like a graphing calculator, and in some ways it acts a little bit more like one too. So first thing I'm going to do is turn it on. Right in the middle of the top part you see the word data. That's where I'm going. So I'm going to press the button data, and this time I get the list view that's the same as the one I get on a graphing calculator. So I have these columns, and at the top you have list 1, list 2, list 3. It's just L1, L2, L3. That's what those stand for. So since we only have one variable we're using, remember we said it's not like we have an X and a Y, we just have one number for each pieces of data, each of our pieces. We're just going to use one list. If we had an X and a Y, we'd put one of them in the list 1 and one of them in list 2. So I just have to punch in 20, and it goes down automatically when I enter. 23, 38, 31, I'm putting in my data points, 19, 21, 24, and 29. It's never a bad idea to double check that you have the right number. There are 8 pieces of data here, and my last one, see how it says L1, 8? That's my 8th piece of data. And L1, 9 is empty because I don't have 9 pieces of data. Okay, once I have everything in the list, I'm going to press that button again, but this time I'm going to use the second button. So I'm going to do second, data, that gives me stat. This also looks kind of like the graphing calculator. It says 1 variable stats or 2 variable stats. Again, the 1 variable stats is because I am only putting in one set of numbers. I'm not using like an X and a Y. 2 variable stats would be if I was doing an X and a Y, like the number of things I purchased and the cost of those things, or anything else that gives me 2 different values. So I'm going to press enter for 1 variable stats. And then I just have to choose some things to make sure, the calculator is basically making sure it knows where to look. It's saying, is your stuff in list 1, list 2, or list 3? Mine's in list 1. Okay. And you can put a frequency table in. We did not do that, and you won't most of the time. So this 1 is saying, does each data point only happen once? Yes. If it happened more than once, I'd put it in more than once. So I press enter again. And it's saying, do you want me to go ahead and calculate that? So yes, press enter again. And now here are my 1 variable my parameters, my measures of central tendency, my measures of dispersion, some other things we've got in here, quartiles, some other interesting things. For our purposes, we've got the N is 8. Here is X bar. There's my mean. Again, that's that thing that's related to standard deviation, but we're not worried about right now. We're not going to use that right now. And here is that little baby sigma. Looks kind of like an O with a hat sticking out to the side. That is the standard deviation, and it does indeed match, 6.12.